Here we go. There we go. Ha! What's up? What's up? We're going to be here fairly quick. This was supposed to be a video. I attempted to record it 3 times. It was averaging 20 minutes and something either happened, either a noise error, had to get up, and it kind of interrupted the flow of the video. So this one's going to be not super long, maybe 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes max. I want to make sure you're able to listen to this. If you're not able to catch this live, if you're driving to work or you have a long ride and you just want to listen to the audio only, you should be able to listen to this. Because I listen to a lot of videos and podcasts on my way to and from work without ever looking at the phone. I just listen on YouTube, call it a day. So I'm trying to be better at that. So that would probably encourage me to go live a little bit more and be tolerable for over 10 minutes, right? So today we are talking about the Xbox Series X, and the discussion in regards to is launch lineup today. That's what we're going to be doing. I want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat so far. I went live with no heads up, no warning, and however many people we get in here, it's no biggie. I don't care if it's 20 of you watching or 220. We're going to get this video done and we're going to have a discussion. And I think I have one hell of an idea or a theory of what could have happened, what they could have done. And we're going to discuss what we have. So before we get this video started, to stall a little bit before more people get in, hit that like button, hit that share button, because it's going to be a decent show. Shout out to Hustle and Motivate, Rigo Romero. He is a member of the channel. Gaming Addict, The Finest, Mr. Petty, Hot Boy D, Toady, K Kinder TV. And no, I did not tweet this, but I will tweet it now. But we are live. So let's talk about it. All right. So Xbox earlier, not this week, last week had revealed its launch lineup for the Xbox Series console and touting it its largest launch lineup of all time. And they're technically correct, right? However, one can argue this is their most mediocre launch lineup of all time. And if you argue that, you have a case. There's no need to beat around. Like, it is what it is. Now, does Xbox launch lineup change my hype for the launch? Absolutely not. But there is a glaring issue with their launch lineup, and they're going to do whatever they can to dress it up, to make it sound great or not. And this is not going to be a video to tell you guys not to buy the Xbox Series X or this sucks, that sucks. No, it's not necessary, right? Because 6 months into the console generation, we are completely forgotten about the launch game. So let's get into it. So first, we're going to discuss the Xbox Series X launch lineup as of today, which I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. It's been updating literally every day since they made the announcement. So we're going to talk about the titles that are there, and then I'm going to tell you guys how these guys could have fixed this problem before it even started. Now, there's one thing obvious, right? The Xbox Series X launch was riding on the availability of Halo Infinite. From start to finish, Halo Infinite was the go-to. So no matter what AA, indie, or marketing deals you had this holiday season, at the end of the day, you had Halo Infinite. That was their trump card for this holiday. And unfortunately, due to some unnecessary zooming and polygon counting of a reoccurring non-main character NPC in Halo Infinite that go by the name Craig. The game, unfortunately, was delayed out of the holiday season, and it's so apparent that Halo Infinite was a big part of the Xbox Series X launch. Is all over the marketing campaign, the Taco Bell ads, the Power Your Dreams ad campaign, and even the box itself has a bit. It's Halos all over the Xbox Series X's box, and it's just disappointing to see that it could not make the launch. So let's discuss. All right. So now Xbox is left with a couple of things. Right. So their launch lineup stands at 30. But Bright Memory 1.0. Now we all are familiar with that game. So Bright Memory Infinite was a game that opened the May event. It opened the May Xbox showcase, the first look showcase. Looked awesome, looked great. Now that game is coming out in 2021, but what we're getting is more so of a prequel, a precursor to that game, a short demo. It's available on Steam for $9.99. It's going to be available for the Xbox Series X. It's probably going to be running 4K 60. Bright Memory Infinite is supposed to be doing 4K 60, ray tracing, and it's going to be a full-fledged game, the full package. This is going to be a little tease, a little taste of what we can expect. So Bright Memory 1.0 is there. You have Cuisine Royale, which is nothing to write home about. Dead by Daylight, nothing to write home about. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Now, Devil May Cry 5 was one of my favorite games in 2019. It was actually a Game of the Year contender for me in 2019, along with Sekiro and The Outer Worlds and a few other games that I played that year. It was a great game. It was running 4K 60 dynamic on the Xbox One X, so the game does look beautiful. This would be the proper next-gen version, but the bad news there, at least on the Xbox side, we're not getting ray tracing day one, and this game is not a smart delivery game. The special edition you have to buy separately. So with that in consideration, it's a skip for me until they add ray tracing. The other game is backwards compatible, so I mean, it still looks good on and it's just going to run better. So the special edition, it's a launch title, it is a separate game, it's a proper port, but it's when in the age of smart delivery, it doesn't mean anything. And then you have Destiny 2 Beyond Light, you know, a big expansion coming, is launching day one in Game Pass, Xbox marketing deal, but the bittersweet part to it is that the next gen upgrades will not be available until December. So I mean, we get the new Destiny game on Xbox Series X and S, Game Pass, but we're going to be playing it at 4K 30 frames per second until December. And, you know, a lot of people that went to PC for Destiny to get that better improvement, that better frame rate, you know, they're itching to get off of PC because the desktop dwellers can't stop cheating. So once these consoles that are able to push, you know, Destiny at 60 frames per second, those people are playing on PC, they will move to console, and this delay just hurts a little bit. So they're going to be, you know, playing on that platform, the PC platform, just a little bit longer until the next gen versions are ready. So we have that. And you have Dirt 5, which is the most talked about dirt game ever, for the simple fact that a lot of people are, you know, believe it doesn't look next gen enough, despite it running at 4K 60, despite it hitting 120 frames per second, because it's being shown on the Xbox Series X and S. It's now the token game to show off the Xbox, but it's getting a lot of I guess polarizing, you know, press about it. Fair or not, it is what it is, but it's a multiplayer game. Enlisted. This is a game launching in game preview. The day the Series X come out as a launch title. It is running 4K 60. It is going to be featuring ray tracing, despite what you hear about ray tracing. We're going to learn about that game as it launches with the console. Evergate, I don't know what that is. Fortnite, don't really care. Forza Horizon 4, it's a proper next-gen version. Gears 5, we're going to talk more about that. Gears Tactics, finally launching on console. It's a proper launch title. Grounded, 4K 60. Just Dance 2021, don't care. King Oddball should not be on this list whatsoever. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, That game actually launches a week after the consoles. Man-Eater, Manifold Garden, NBA 2K21. That's going to be a true next-gen test. Observer, System Redux. Those are from the people that made the Medium. Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, Planet Coaster, Tetris Effect Connected, The Tourist, The Falconeer. Now that's going to be underrated. I think that's going to be an amazing game. I can't wait to play that. War Thunder, Warhammer, Watch Dogs Legion, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Yes, Your Grace. So, yes, very mediocre. 30 games, yes, but mediocre. It is. Until they come in our hand and we've come across something surprising. The majority of these games are games that exist. They're technically old and they're next-gen ports or smart delivery. So, yeah, they got more oomph to them, but a lot of these games are existing games or cross-gen games. So, yeah. Of all launch titles, yes, this is probably Xbox's weakest launch lineup, and it's crazy. It's comes a couple years after they acquired all these studios, right? But these launch lineups would not have been an issue when you consider what was to come with them. We were supposed to have Halo Infinite. That was going to be the game. That was the games. It doesn't matter. Halo Infinite, and you can pick 2 games out of that list of 30 that you would have bought with Halo Infinite, right? So, how could have Xbox potentially saved that from happening? We all knew the eggs were all in Halo's basket. And before I continue, let me make sure I get this super chat from Fayos07. He said, man, during the PS UI, look at the distraction all-stars characters' feet when all they stand together. You will laugh. Okay. We'll discuss that. So let's take a look at all right, so obviously all the hype was done for Halo. But what could have Xbox have done during the process of preparing for the Xbox Series X launch and looking at their roadmap of games that they had coming throughout 2019 and 2020 that they could pretty much prepared for the Xbox Series X? What could they have done? Now, with these predictions, right, with what I'm about to tell you, is not going to be a bunch of things. I'm not going to say, oh, they should have had Fable. Oh, they should have made this game. Oh, the initiative. It won't be under this unnecessary shit that obviously wasn't possible. I'm going to tell you things you're going to be surprised, because after it all said and done, you will realize I have not changed what we have today, right? So one of the first things I feel like Xbox could have done to make sure that they would have quality content from their first party to deliver with the Xbox Series X at launch, they would have had to give the Xbox One in 2019 another L in terms of content. That's for sure. They would have. Xbox One would have had to have another. To me, their 2019 first half of 2020 would have had to be a little bit mediocre. The first thing I would have done if I was in Xbox shoes, and what they should have done in terms to fix their to ensure that they have quality content with Halo Infinite, or in the event Halo Infinite gets, because no one predicted COVID, right? So COVID, you could say COVID delayed Halo, but I'm kind of believe that they had a lot of time to produce Halo. Halo had, COVID hit America in it really hit us in March, where it kind of really had a strong impact. So I don't really blame COVID too much, right? But this is how Xbox could ensure a plan B. First thing they could have done is delayed Flight Sim. Yes. Delayed Flight Sim, ship it holiday 2020, and make sure that it came to Xbox and PC holiday 2020. The game came out, I think it eventually came out in, was it May? When did this game come out? May? When did Flight Sim finally come out? I think May, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know when it finally came out, but it came out on PC first, and it's slated to come out on consoles later. But if I'm Xbox, I'm like, we need to showcase our console. We got the most powerful console. We got to make sure we don't have Forza this time around. Forza, they probably started developing Forza Motorsport. Them Playground and Turn 10 are both rebooting their games. And I think development probably started in 2018 of that game. So they know Forza Motorsport's not going to be there, right? But you do have another sim game, a gorgeous one. Microsoft Flight Simulator, delay it holiday 2020 so it can launch for the Series X, Series S. Sure, it can skip Xbox One. It is what it is. And PC. There you solve the problem. You solve all right, there's no racing like sim from us. There's no Project Gotham. There's no Forza. But we do have a flight sim that looks graphically impressive, right? You solve that problem. Sure, Flight Sim is not for everyone, but Forza Motorsport's not for everyone. But it would have been a necessary equivalent needed. Next thing I would have done to solve that problem, the next thing I would have done, I would have had Undead Labs delay the Juggernaut edition, right? This game exists. This literally was a game that they improved the visuals. The game looks better, performs better, and they added a ton more content to kind of really help revive the game. There's different modes, different co-op modes to do now with the game. The game looks better, looks a little bit closer to what we saw when the State of Decay 2 was first revealed. But this game, this expansion, I think came out earlier this year. What happened if they just, delay it and push it to the Series X launch? And you essentially have a Spider-Man scenario, right? This would be, and now Spider-Man, of course, is better than State of Decay, but this would be an equivalent move. Upgraded textures and visuals, and they could have made it even look even better on the Xbox Series X, up the frame rate to 60, upgrade the visuals, and launch the Juggernaut edition with all this extra content. It can sure it can still come out for Xbox One and stuff. It's still State of Decay 2, but it's more like a remaster. The Juggernaut edition was a remaster. They didn't delay it 6 months. It's a Series X launch title. It's a Series X launch title if they do that. And that would have been right now already with Flight Simulator, right? State of Decay 2 Juggernaut edition. Now you have actually, okay, this is actually pretty decent just from first party. This is actually pretty decent. And the next thing which you have to consider also is that Microsoft typically, they have a third-party partner with some of these games. Generally, it's Dead Rising, but Vancouver Studios is gone. There's no more Vancouver Studio. Capcom is not doing Dead Rising. So this would have been that, like, okay, this is our, for the moment, this is our Dead Rising. We revamped State of Decay 2. It looks better. And we just revealed State of Decay 3 in July. This would kind of give some people some hype going into the game. So this is what I would have done for sure. Delay State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition, improve it, optimize it for the Series X, 60 frames per second, and you have a worthwhile title or worthwhile expansion or a remaster for the Series X, and I'm sure it would have been well received. And also in 2019, E3 2019, something, was it E3 2019 or was it 2018? Damn, what year was it? But something interesting happened. One E3, there were 3 Gears of War games. It was in 2019, had to be announced. 3. Gears Pop, Gears Tactics, and Gears 5. right? 3 Gears of War games. Now, if I'm Xbox, we have our roadmap. We know we have a console coming holiday 2020. We have our software. We can kind of see what software is going to be ready for our console launch in 2020. We're aiming to have Halo Infinite. We're aiming to have Halo Infinite there. But there is a possible chance that it may miss launch. There's a possible chance. Wouldn't it have been smart to launch a gear? Now, they're technically doing this, but think about it. Think about it if it was done this way. Instead of launching in the order they did, what if Gears Pop and Gears Tactics launched in 2019 for, Gears Pop, even though it didn't come to Xbox One, in this case, it should have Xbox One, PC, mobile, Gears Pop, and then November 2019 drop Gears Tactics for Xbox One and PC, and then Gears Tactics would have had to been the L that year to be that type of Gears game for 2019. What if they held off and delayed Gears 5 to holiday 2020? Think about it. Imagine if Gears 5, the first time we're seeing Gears 5 is with the Xbox Series X. And we are, instead of getting Gears 5 in 2019, we get Gears Pop and Gears Tactic on console and PC in 2019. And they save Gears 5 for the launch. Now, with this move, with this potential delay, one, they could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Guarantee the greatest launch lineup ever by aiming to have a Halo Infinite and Gears 5 at launch. It would be risky because you're scared, but if one of them get delayed, it don't matter. If one of them gets delayed, which eventually happened, Halo Infinite got delayed. Imagine Gears 5 gets another year, right? This is what could have potentially happened. That another year, any quirks or issues that the game launched with in September 2019 gets fixed. They have another year under their belt in a few months to properly implement ray tracing. You can do your dynamic 4K 60 on the Xbox One X consoles, your dynamic 1080p 30 on Xbox One, and then you can, take full advantage of the Series X and Series S. You can have all the modes incorporated into the game, and then now, by the time Gears 5 gets here, it's already looking dope. We already know the optimized version on the Series X is getting beyond PC settings right now. From what's being reported, what they confirmed, it's getting 120 hertz. So just imagine if we got Gears 5 as a launch game, and this is the first time we're seeing it, first time we're playing it, would be in a few weeks with our brand new Xbox Series X consoles. 2019 would have had to take an L for the Gears game, Gears Pop and Gears Tactics. So what? But 2020 Xbox Series X, Gears 5. If I was Microsoft or Xbox, and if I had the opportunity to make a decision like that, I would have, and it would have paid off because ultimately Halo Infinite got delayed. And you still would have had a Gears 5. A Gears game never launched with an Xbox. That would have been big just itself. And then imagine what your launch titles now look like. Without me adding a Killer Instinct, without me adding a new game from Rare, no Banjo, no Conquer, none of that bullshit. I didn't create a new game to improve the Xbox Series X's launch lineup. Delay Gears 5. This is because when you're looking at software and the roadmap to these consoles, some of these decisions should have been obviously made a year ago. But if Gears 5 got delayed, State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition got delayed, and Flight Simulator got delayed, and so that both the console and the PC version comes out holiday 2020, Xbox Series X, by not doing anything new, has the best launch lineup easily. With Halo delayed. That's how they could have fixed the Series X launch lineup. Now, sure, we're getting Gears 5. but we've already played it and explored it, and they're not adding any new content to it to make it a fresh new start. State of Decay is backwards compatible. Don't really care about it, but this Juggernaut edition, which is it is, I don't know if any of you guys checked it out. It is pretty good. But just off optics alone, it would have been received even that much better. And then obviously we know what happened with Flight Simulator. Is one of the best games on PC. Is coming to console later, but it would have just made it that much better. And I did this without making up shit. No Hellblade 2, no Killer Instinct 3 or anything like that. None of that. It literally games that already exist that all could have just benefited if they were delayed. 3 delays, and they would have the greatest launch lineup ever. Hands down. But yes. So that was kind of the thing I wanted to get off my chest. This would have been a 27-minute video, possibly. But I kept getting interrupted, so that's why I ended up having to go live. But I appreciate 157 of you guys watching. I am now just getting to the chat. I see I have $2 from Gaming Addict, who says Demon Souls challenge in January or February. Nope. Though I do plan on getting the game, I don't think I'll be participating in any challenges. So, for those who were here, start to finish, 25 minutes. What do you think of how I would have fixed the Xbox Series X and S launch lineup? What do you think? Seeing Gears 5 for the first time ever, Series X. Seeing State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition for the first time, Series X. Seeing Flight Simulator for the first time this holiday, Series X. That, you win. You'd have a 90 Metacritic sim. You have an 84, 85 Metacritic Gears 5. It doesn't matter. It's still one of the best Gears games in my book. And then you would have had launching the Juggernaut Edition. That would have scored better than the original game. So it would have been like a 70s game. But it's still above average. You fixed the launch. You fixed the launch. Gaming Guy, I read the super chat before that. I read that super chat before I got into my story. It was from Fazo. He talked about the Destruction All-Stars during a UI video. So, now, any questions for me before I shut this down? I know there's a lot going on Twitter. There are people, again, saying Xbox isn't the most powerful console because they're now saying the most fastest, most powerful Xbox ever, right? The reason why they can't say fastest, most powerful console ever, because the Xbox Series X is technically not the fastest console. That would be technically PlayStation if what they say is true about their specs. And according to what we've seen so far, it is pretty fast. So they would, the fastest console is PlayStation. But the most powerful console is the Xbox. It's an irrefutable fact. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing, no neutral, no PlayStation fanboy, no fake ass tech reader on YouTube can say to change that. I don't give a fuck what RDNA PlayStation is allegedly running, whether it be RDNA 3, RDNA 4. None of these non-existent architectures will change that fact. So, Addict, if you can get someone to pay me $700 to play Demon Souls on YouTube, I'd do it. I'd buy it at launch, and I will hold off until February to play it to do the challenge. Yes. Visually Advanced says, rumor is Microsoft is buying a bigger studio than Bethesda. Let that sink in. The only thing, here's the thing. There's only 2 more things. There's 3 more publishers you can buy bigger than Bethesda. Well, Bethesda was, it was private, the largest private, publisher you can get. But who's bigger than Bethesda? Take-Two, EA, and Ubisoft. And of the 3, who's more? What can you realistically see happen? I mean, well, WB Games was cheaper than Bethesda, so Microsoft could have easily bought them, and they especially would have if they would have gotten all the licenses with it. So that's one thing. But so let's take WB Games out of there. Microsoft and EA has a partnership. Microsoft just cut a check to EA to have EA Play into Game Pass. So that's not likely, and you at this point you don't need them because you have their library pretty much. Okay. And it's better to play EA games on Xbox than it is to play PlayStation because you get their games cheaper. And you get more of their games. So you really don't need EA at this point. You really don't. Take-Two, you're not going to get Take-Two because Take-Two doesn't seem like a publisher that wants to be bought. Ubisoft! Now, I'm not saying any of this is true, but if you're who's left that's bigger would be Ubisoft. And if you got Ubisoft, you truly don't need anyone else. And that would be Microsoft buys Ubisoft. I'll retire from YouTube. I'll just go on my lonely way and just play video games. I won't have anything to say. I would not have anything to say. But yeah, that would be the only thing I would consider bigger than Bethesda, but that's buying like a publisher. Otherwise, they could buy like another handful of like studios just of higher caliber that could work like so. But I don't know. He said, buy Bungie and have 343 heads report up through them. No. So Microsoft should cut a check to Ubisoft and get Uplay Plus on Game Pass. I don't want them to buy all big publishers and then it become I guess you want to say monopoly in the gaming. Buying Ubisoft wouldn't be a monopoly in the gaming industry, but it would be very impactful. It would be very impactful. Do you think Xbox will buy Sega? They could if they wanted to. Do I want Xbox to buy Sega? No. There's not a lot of games from Sega that I actually care about or want to play. I know people like Yakuza, people like Persona, Sonic. No, I don't. There's not like the games like that Sega made were those one-off games that I liked, and like they don't own Condemned. That was one of my favorites. They don't own. I don't know who owns Full Auto, but Full Auto is my favorite. But every other game that Sega's made, no, I'm not the biggest Sega fan. If they add them, great. It's awesome. It definitely diversified your lineup, but I'd be lying to you if I said I want Sega over Ubisoft. I'll take Ubisoft over Sega any day. I'd take Ubisoft over Bethesda any day of the week because I'm willing to play more Ubisoft games than I am from any of those other publishers. Like, I mean, I take Ubisoft over EA. The only thing I want from EA is Respawn games and freaking the people that make those make their like Battlefields and all that stuff. They're non-sports games because outside of like sports games, EA's they're hit or miss of what they provide you. They have a lot of studios, but I would rather Ubisoft. There's a lot they solve. Ubisoft has your multiplayer shooters, they have your single player games, they have your big games, they have games as a service, you have the Division, you have a whole heap of IPs that you can go to, and Ubisoft puts out 5 games annually, AAA games annually. That's like you're guaranteed to get an Assassin's Creed. Well, you used to get an Assassin's Creed every year, but you're guaranteed to get one at least every other year. And then those off years, you're going to get like a Division or a Ghost Recon or a Rainbow Six, a Watch Dogs. Like you're going to get Ubisoft. If Xbox has an opportunity to buy another major publisher, it's Ubisoft. Do that. It's worth because they fit the criteria of keeping people in games as a service. Like, perfect. Like they make games perfect for Game Pass. You pay monthly and then you buy microtransactions. Yeah, okay. You said I wish Microsoft. Yeah, but it would be nice if Microsoft had Respawn and BioWare. I think awesome. It's a shame that EA got both of them. It's a shame. Oh yeah, yeah. You're saying pretty much, Bloodspray. I understand what you're saying. Like how the cell phone market is. Like Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon own pretty much all the other small cellular phone companies that ever existed, and now they're just three. Hey, that's how it's going to happen because not many people can survive this. The gaming industry. There used to be a shit ton more studios than we have now, but that's just how the industry plays out. It's going to be three big major players when it's all said and done. Because you got to think about it. The model that gaming wants to take does not work with everyone participating. EA can't survive. Ubisoft can't survive. Activision can't survive. Stadia. None of them can do that on their own, just doing their own services. Ubisoft is trying to do their own service. EA doing their own service. They have to partner with people to survive. It's just not going to work. They're going to wipe each other out. So because it's too oversaturated, who's going to subscribe to every major publisher's services, subscriber services? You're just not. You're just not. There's no room to survive. I don't want Sony to be destroyed. I don't think they'll be destroyed, but at the end of the day, I don't care about Sony can be great as they want. I just want Xbox to have games and options, and consistent options. That has nothing to do. Sony has games according to everybody. So if Xbox owned Ubisoft, I mean, you guys only play PlayStation exclusive. So if Xbox owns Ubisoft and Bethesda, and they got the best access to EA games, it is what it is. At least y'all got Uncharted, Spider-Man, and God of War, and Horizon. We just get everything else. You said they are making record profit. Who are making record profits right now? But in the way that the industry wants to go, right? It's not enough room for every major publisher to have their own subscription service and expect to survive, because the consumer base is not going to subscribe for everyone. For the amount of people that they want, you got just like we could buy multiple games and stuff. You're relying on us to subscribe to each and every one service. And after a while, $10 and $15 subscription services from 5 different providers or 6 different providers, that's going to be costly. That's why pulling the plug is damn near the same price as cable right now, depending on how much stuff you're subscribed to. Xbox doesn't do exclusives in the traditional sense. Xbox does exclusives in the terms of ecosystems. So if you're not playing with it, pretty much like this, if you're not playing with an Xbox Live account, you're not playing on an Xbox game. Right now, you have Game Pass on consoles, Game Pass on PC, Game Pass on mobile. And then you have games directly where you can just buy them straight up, whether you want to buy them on disc, whether you want to buy them digital, or you want to buy them on Steam. If you want to buy games on Steam, you know what also you need when you buy that Xbox game on Steam? You need an Xbox Live account. No, you don't need to pay for Xbox Live Gold, but you do need an Xbox Live account. That's just the facts. What's up, Major Lambs? All right, we in 38 minutes. I'm about ready to get out of here. Any more interesting takes that you guys want me to tackle before I get out of here? Bless Red says, but they aren't relying only on subscription services. Activision doesn't even have one. They don't even need EA access, and you play both. They don't, but there's a reason why they made it. There's a reason why they have it. There's a reason why they have it. Dude, 2K is putting full-blown commercials in their video games after increasing the price to $70. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. So Do I think Steam is coming to Xbox? No, because I don't know what type of sense does that make. What does Steam on Xbox mean? Would they share the same library? No. The only thing that can ever happen that like cross play between Steam and Xbox, which I think currently exists now. I don't know. I mean, the relationship between Xbox and Steam, Microsoft definitely they partner with Steam and stuff like that. Their titles go there, but I don't know what type any way Steam can benefit Xbox, because Valve don't make games anymore. He said, Keenan says Twitter is crap. They're too political and need to be banned. Yeah, Twitter is Twitter is too involved. They're really too involved. It's just be a platform. Stop Twitter is forced. Like it's too involved, and it's a site that kind of really wants you to. It leans one way. It's too involved, pretty much. It's really too involved. You said Half-Life Alyx coming to Xbox. What? Isn't that a VR only game? I mean, unless they turn it into a regular game, I don't see that. You want to hear something funny? Interesting enough, the Xbox actually have their launch window is actually I think they might actually have more exclusives than PlayStation in terms of like. Obviously PC exists, but when let's consider a couple of things, right? Let's consider a couple of things. Now, PlayStation games will be better because, I mean, Spider-Man, I mean, you're not going to mess up Spider-Man. It's pretty much the same game. Demon's Souls was, I think, a decent game when it launched, and they're only making it better. So you can probably just kind of accurately predict meta scores. I think the worst game of the bunch, they're probably going to suck off Sackboy, and I think the worst game of the bunch is going to be Bug Snacks and maybe Destruction All Stars, right? So, and then Godfall might be like a 74 rated game. Who knows, right? So when you consider it, right, Xbox has Bright Memory 1.0. They have Gears Tactics. They have the Falconeer. They have Enlisted. And they have... what else is there's another game. I'm not counting the ones that there's another, obviously the Medium, and that's in December. So I'm curious to see how they all like turn out. I'm curious to see how they turn out. Like I got like a high hopes for the Falconeer. I think that's going to be a good one. I'm excited to play Bright Memory. I know it's going to be something short, but it's a teaser to that game we saw in May. The Medium, I'm not hyped for it because it's a horror game. And Blooper Team, I mean, a lot of their games aren't like my style, but at this rate, at this Xbox launch lineup rate, you kind of have to buy it by default. Gears Tactics, I'm going to force myself through it. It's a genre I don't really care, but it is Gears. But I find myself playing probably Gears 5 again for sure. Stalker 2 is 2021. It's not. There's a lot of 2021 is actually going to be kind of a decent year. That's going to be a better year for Xbox, right? From a lot of second party, a lot of third party, second party exclusive to surround Halo Infinite with, and then after that, 2022 onward is going to just be first party onslaught. First party onslaught after that. Right now, 2021, you get Bright Memory Infinite, you get Scorn, you get Stalker 2, you get what else they got coming out? They got a ton of freaking maybe let's go to the Here we go. Got the accent. Like, let's there's a lot coming out in 2021, so I think 2021 is going to be a pretty decent year for Xbox. I wanna click on. I don't want to click on just one game. I wanted to click on the entire. They got Master Chief and. Yeah, and where do I get to that page? There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. This has been my favorite page. Look at all these. Ash Dust Falls. I think that's 2021. Bright Memory Infinite is 2021. Call of the Sea. It was supposed to be this year, so that's sometime in 2021. Crossfire X is actually this year. I forgot about that game. That unless it gets pushed back, it was supposed to be. Its chances are it probably got delayed. But Crossfire X is also this year, supposedly. Echo Generation and Echo Mecha, both 2021. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Second extension, that's probably early 2021. So yeah, there's let's see. There was another way that they used to, but they probably, yeah, they probably changed the way that they were set up on this page. I'm almost certain they changed it. They had it like, set up like where the breakdown was so much better. But this is gonna be my game. I don't give a fuck. 4K 60 frames per second, bro. 4K 60 frames per second. And I'm even going to give the game Watch Dogs a try. Because a lot of people keep trying to lie on the Xbox name, talking about they're removing features, right? Watch Dogs, as of today, we know, as of today, this game still supports ray tracing. 4K ray tracing. Yes, 30 frames per second, unfortunately, but it's ray tracing. Should they have given you a 60 frames per second option? Absolutely. But I respect what Ubisoft is doing with the next generation. What Ubisoft is doing, they have two major titles coming out at launch, and they're taking advantage of the optimizations different ways. They said with their bigger title, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they're going to experiment higher frame rate, 60 frames per second, never done in an Assassin's Creed game before, like on console, 60 frames per second, and they're going to be doing it at 4K. That's how they're going to utilize next generation for that particular game. Well, Watch Dogs, it's like, okay, we have another technology called ray tracing. Watch Dogs, more vibrant in color, more lights, big city. You know, it's an opportunity to take advantage of ray tracing. So instead of opting for higher frame rates, they opted for ray tracing at 4K. It would be nice to have this game at 60, but I respect what they're doing. They're not, I mean, yeah, not every game is going to be 60, but at least Ubisoft said, you know what, we got Assassin's Creed at 60. Let's show off ray tracing with Watch Dogs, and then you're going to get 60 frames per second on Far Cry 6 on the Xbox Series X. So don't even worry about it. And then they got a whole ton of games. Ubisoft is literally the best publisher. I don't give a fuck. You see how many games they got coming this year? Ubisoft is the best publisher. Mark that. I'm saying it. And I'm saying it with full confidence. Ubisoft is the best publisher, third-party publisher, not EA, not 2K, none of that. Nah, it's Ubisoft. They got quality games and they release them. They're consistent every year. Every year. But yeah, I'm gonna get it in Assassin's Creed. What I'm gonna do is not Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I'm obviously getting Assassin's Creed. Watch Dogs. I'm actually just started Watch Dogs again, so I'm gonna go. I gotta do shout out to the dude who donated for me to. I'm gonna do my New Vegas stream. I'm gonna do it this week, but in between, I'm gonna finish up Watch Dogs 1, and then I'm gonna go through Watch Dogs 2, and then I'll play Watch Dogs Legions after Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yeah, Blessed Fred says, I'm interested on how Assassin's Creed Valhalla will look in terms of graphical settings, especially considering the PC recommended specs versus the console's 4K 60 frames per second mode. Bless, you have it's good observation and a good question, because honestly, when you look at the PC recommendations, there's not really many 60 frames per second options. They got the enthusiast option, which is, I think, ultra settings at 1440p, 60 frames per second. And then they have their, I think, ultra settings, which is 4K at 30 frames per second. And then the other modes are they're targeting like 1080p or something like that. So it's weird because the PC requirements are a little bit aggressive, and you look at the consoles like, wait a minute, the standard for next gen consoles, or at least that the setting. I can't speak for PlayStation because they don't have like a product page that kind of, I think, highlights exactly what the games are doing. But for Xbox, it's saying 4K 60. Sure, they're probably using DRS, dynamic resolution, but the game is going to be 4K 60. I am interested to see. That's why I want them to show it on the Series X. It should be showed. At this point, the game is gold. It's coming out on November 10th. We have to see that game on the Series X someday soon. I can't wait till these review codes come out. Somebody has to have access to this damn game. And I want to see Watch Dogs again. Like, we saw Watch Dogs on the Series S, and I think we saw it on the Assassin's Creed on the Series S as well. But I'm ready to see more for Assassin's Creed. I'm looking forward to Digital Foundry's breakdown on Gears 5. That should be coming tomorrow. And they're probably going to do one on Gears Tactics the day after. But man, the game is gold. Let me try to get me a review copy for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now that I think about it, I gotta hit somebody up. Let me try to get that. Derek, I did not forget about Enlisted. I did highlight that it's a squad base. I didn't highlight this, but I did highlight it's 4K 60 and it will use ray tracing. It is coming November 10th at launch into game preview. It is a squad based shooter. It looks like it's based in World War II or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Enlisted. Chris Righteous says, honestly, I'd rather have dev push for 1440p with better textures than native 4K with compromises. That's what Yakuza's doing. They got laughed at. Yakuza's pushing 4K. They're pushing 1440p 60 to get the best out of that game, even though that engine needs help. That engine needs help. All right. Stop. Like, come on. Close the doors. Okay. Yeah, you want to know why the Falconeer is one of my favorite, one of my not favorite, but one of the games we're looking forward to is because the Falconeer, it's 4K 60, right? And then in its performance mode, it's 1800p, 120 frames per second. And then on a Series S, it's 1800p, 60 frames per second standard, and then 1080p, is it 1080p? Yeah, 1080p 120 in its performance mode. So I mean, I definitely appreciate that. So it's pretty dope. Let me close my door. I'm gonna stay here 5 minutes to make this video at exactly an hour. But give me 1 second. All right. You said resolution does not equal more realistic graphics. Okay. Bless red, not 4K. Okay. Resolution doesn't make the game better. Okay. The fact they're still giving us 60 as an option is just pathetic. 60 should be the main mode. And let me discuss that. This could be the last topic about today. It's like, so now the discussion on Twitter that people are trying to attack Xbox guys for Xbox and Aaron Greenberg. Aaron Greenberg said months ago that Xbox Series X is the standard. It should be its 4K 60. They did, and I back this. I agree with them. They designed the console to do 4K 60 as the standard. Dude, that's what they designed it for. It is what it is. There's no way about it. It is what it is. They designed it for 4K 60. You guys can look at the specs and say, okay, it can do this, it can do that. You see what it can do. It's designed to do 4K 60. So it's fair to say that's the baseline. And then anything above is, a cream on the top, like 120 frames per second. Sure, it can do it, but the console's baseline, it was designed to do 4K 60. Now, he also said in that same post further down that, not every developer would actually take advantage of that, but that doesn't stop the console's baseline, the standard to do 4K 60. It is what it is. Just like the Series S, its baseline is, I think, 1080 60 or 1440p 60. It can do 120. And apparently it can go above 1440p, but it's not ideal. But like, sure, like, so every game, that we're going to get, like, that falls below, that's like 30 frames per second. And if these developers want to, put their resources into ray tracing, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now there's already games are announced for the Series X that's going to hit 4K 60 plus ray tracing, but it is what it is. Psycho Nuts 8 said, I played Falconeer beta on Steam and had a lot of fun. Did you? I'm looking forward to that game. Here's the thing, right? The 2080s, it's like when you guys are comparing these consoles to 2080s and stuff like that. Sure, I do it too, but they're different, right? NVIDIA does 2080, does the RTX and GTX series. AMD does the consoles card. So you really got to kind of look at it from what AMD really benchmarks are. And right now, until AMD's new cards come out, the Series X is probably most powerful AMD machine available until their high-end graphics cards come out. But I have no experience with AMD cards. I only have experience with AMD consoles. You said, I wonder if Xbox has something up their sleeve come launch day, maybe a surprise game. That surprise game is going to be Crossfire X, if anything. It'll be available. I don't think there's going to be any new games. There's going to be new backwards compatible games, probably, or new games that get an unprecedented boost. Probably there'll probably be a new game announced fairly soon. That's going to be for next year. We're supposed to be getting an announcement for XO 20 fairly soon. There's a couple things. There's supposedly this new studio in New Zealand that's supposed to be announced, which I don't really care about a new studio announcement if you don't show, I don't I get hyped for studio acquisitions because, all right, you're telling me Xbox is adding an existing studio or existing IP to the Xbox family. There's reason to be hyped. if they say they built a new studio in New Zealand, it means nothing to me unless they show me what game they're building. Or so I don't understand why. I'm not sure what's going on October 30th. This is when they're supposed to announce it, but who knows? So Halo Infinite multiplayer might launch before the full game. That's a possibility. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think if Halo Infinite is going to be like this game, like let's say Destiny and stuff like that, then they could possibly get away with it. But then again, the multiplayer is free to play, so they can definitely get away with it, right? So maybe you've released the free to play version. You can do that without launching the campaign. The free to play multiplayer, drive everybody in, get everybody hyped, and then pretty much the game itself is going to be like a platform. The campaign is going to be like this. Is going to be like a live, I think, live game or something like that. And then I mean, it depends on how they do it. They got to be really smart with it. But they probably should have did multiplayer at launch. Honestly, with all the marketing with Halo Infinite and the Xbox Series X launch, it just makes sense to have some sort of version with it there, whether it be beta or something. Maybe they surprise us with a beta this November at launch with the console. You buy Series X, day one, you get access to the Halo Infinite beta immediately. They did that, I'd be happy. Psychonauts8 says the AMD has said the Series X is based on the new 6000 series AMD cards. All right, guys, but I'm gonna get out of here. So I definitely appreciate you guys all for coming. It was a 27-minute video turned into an hour live stream, so you guys got a free podcast out of me. Make sure you tune in to Planet Xbox this Wednesday. I'm sure there's gonna be some news over the next 2 days that we're gonna be able to talk about. And make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. We're on our way to 11,000. And hit the like button, share this out. Join the channel if you are regularly watching streams or podcasts from me. But definitely appreciate you guys coming through. And I will talk to you guys later. As always, Xbox is the best box. I am the best spot. Hope you guys have a good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. We're out of here. Peace.